This is day 6 of the Coronavirus Wellness Talk. I hope you had some time to reflect on things that we have already talking about. So today we'll again start with our intention setting. One of the key things that I would like to remind you that whenever we are thinking about the goal, I'm totally healthy, I'm truly happy, and I am building up a stronger immune system, we should not think about that I'm not going to have coronavirus. Because whenever we say something negative, the subconscious mind doesn't listen to it, and rather it can happen. So take it out from the mind, just focusing on the total health, because total health itself includes physical health, mental health, emotional health, social health, and spiritual health. So we already are taking care of that in a package deal. So we don't have to add something negative to it. So just focusing on total health, true happiness, and building up a stronger immune system should be good enough. So with that intent in mind, keep your palms together. Repeat your personal resolve 3 times in your mind and create a feeling in your heart. Now I will raise both the hands up to the sky. Keep your palms open, like this, open. In a state of complete surrender, keep your eyes gently closed, facing to the Father Sky. And we'll chant 5 Ohms. Inhale. 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 Good. Bring your palms together. Let's do a yogic prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvina Vaditamastu, Ma Vidvisavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May the universe protect us all. May the universe nourish us all. May this practice of workshop and yoga be fruitful and enlightening. May there be no discord, no disharmony among each other. May there be peace. Om, peace, peace. Okay. Thank you very much. So we will talk about just a recap of everything that we have talked about. We have been talking about the yoga and Vedanta, how it is helping us to collect back everything that we have and understanding our true nature. From that respect, I talked about Bhutanu to Brahmanu in my last talk, like how the virus can be considered as a ghost particle which is having a ill will, evil intent, and how we can bring together a Brahmanu, a concept of Brahman, a concept that really binds us together, integrates us together, collects us together. So when we try to focus on the Brahmanu aspect of it, the God particle, obviously we'll have more power to deal with the Bhutanu or the ghost particle that is trying to separate us, try to create disease inside us, fear inside us. Good. So we will talk more about that, but I also would like to answer a question that came in the Facebook group last week. So its question is, how come the spiritual masters are not able to do anything now? And why are we depending only on the medicine? Why not the spiritual power can help us to rescue from this pandemic? They call it a silly question, but I think it's not a silly question because it's a very, very important question. I think it's one of those existential questions. Like if God is doing everything, then why there is miseries in life? Why there is adversities in life? Well, it's a great, profound question. Let's try to deal with this in different ways. So I'll try to build a context to this question. Example of a story, Brihad Aranyak Upanishad. The story goes like this. So in the beginning of the time, when the human beings, the devas, and then asuras, and all the the demons, the gods, and then the human beings were created in this universe. So there was an important question, like hey, somebody has to teach them, somebody has to educate them, somebody has to enlighten them. Then only they can understand the problems of life. They can only fix the problems. They can find more meanings in their life. Because with education, with the lightening of the mind, we find more sustainable solutions to the problems that we happen or we encounter. So everybody came to a consensus that Prajapita Brahma, who is the creator of the universe, he should give us lessons. He should teach us. So he designed a course where everybody is participating. It's a rigorous course of disciplining the human mind. They talk all tapasya, like in how to generate the heat in your mind so that you go to the higher level. So everybody did their own practice of meditation, yoga, pranayama, all these things that is needed to be learned to survive in this life. So after the end of this course, of course, everybody were enlightened in their own way. So everybody had a need to have the final word from Prajapita Brahma. They requested him, so you have already taught us everything, but we would like to see or to listen to your final word of wisdom, how we can move forward in our life. So interestingly, it's a very profound teaching from Brahma. He just said the word Da, just a simple word called Da, and then asked every group to interpret that based on their learning. See, this is what the teaching is about, how the mind plays a major role in interpreting the life. So that's what the yogic concept we are investigating today, how the mind plays a role. So first the Devas were asked, what is your interpretation of Da? Then the Devas said, after some thinking, that Da means maybe Damyatam. Damyata means self-control. Like we must control our mind, we must control our life, we must control our mind, we must control our intent. Everything is about controlling. So we must practice Damyata. And the Brahma said, yes, that is right. And then the human beings were asked, he said, what is your interpretation? So the categorical human being who were present in that, the sample of human being, the representative of humanity, they said Da means Dhanam, right? Whatever we do, we must give back to the world. The Mother Nature gives us everything, we must give it back so that the life continues. So Dhanam, or spending time, spending money, resources, everything to uplift the humanity, to help others also to grow in that path of the life is called Dhanam. Then Brahma said, yes, that is also true. See, Brahma is saying, based on your interpretations, whatever you're saying is true. And then the Asuras or the Danavas were asked, what is the interpretation of Da from their point of view? So they said, Da means Daya, like kindness, compassion. If you don't have Daya in your heart, then you won't be a good human being or a good person. So you must practice Daya. That is also one of the yamas and niyamas of yoga practice. So everybody interpreted from their way, Dhanam. So the meaning of this story is everything happens in our mind. Our mind interprets everything. The life is largely an interpretation of our mind. So now coming back to the question, the spiritual masters, the enlightened masters, the Guru Mandala, all the source of spirituality, even the nature, the universe itself, how come it's not doing anything? Well, if you look at the situation right now, everybody is interpreting in their own respective way. Everybody is trying to find out what is the best solution for this. Because at any given point of time, if you look at in our own personal life, there will be always a time would come, at least 10 to 15 times, we'll have these spiritual problems, deeper problems, bigger adversities in our life. Like for example, when our dear loved ones passing away from this life, when we have a divorce or when you have a loss of job, all the different things, or a serious sickness that comes into our life. So that happens on an individual level, and also in a collective level. A war can break out, a bigger epidemic or pandemic like this can happen, a flood can happen, hurricane can happen, a meteorite can attack the planet Earth. There are so many adversities that at a collective level also can happen. So at those time of adversities, I think it's a great opportunity for us, because every problem is also an opportunity in disguise. Right? Every problem is an opportunity in disguise. Life is only 10% what happens, but 90% how we respond to it. So even at this context of coronavirus situation also, there are so many interpretations that are positive in nature. People are saying that if you can't go outside, go inside. And probably the spiritual masters have already raised a platform where people are listening to the inner self and then trying to take some time, I believe, to go deeper inside. So in a way, maybe the masters of this time or even the previous time, Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, Buddha, all these spiritual masters from the past and the present, they've already laid a foundation for us. They've already given us their lessons Now I believe it's a testing time for us. Because I personally believe that we all are enlightened, just like Swami Vivekananda said, we all are divine soul. There is a divine potential in everybody. But we have to do our own bits to manifest the divinity in our life. So I think it's a collective time, it's a time for doing something on our own, to spend some time to enhance the spiritual base, what they call building a stronger foundation in our life. And where is the stronger foundation? The stronger foundation is our basis of our existence. As yoga talks about, you are Atman, you are the pure consciousness manifesting your life through this body, mind, intellect complex. So everything that happens in the life is only a reflection of the consciousness. So when you take some time to dive deep into your inner consciousness, the real consciousness called the Brahman, and take a holy dip into that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day, then automatically your mind becomes more powerful. Your consciousness expands to see that you are, or the human species, not the only species in this planet. Everything matters. The life of a dolphin, the life of a seal, the life of the birds, the life of ants, the life of sea creatures, everything matters to the nature. So we, because of our limited ignorance or limited knowledge, I think we have conquered the world in a very powerful way. So I think it's the time of the nature that is giving us opportunity to reflect back into what life is and how we can be practicing self-control, how we can practice daya, compassion, and how we can devote our time, whatever is there right now, to teach each other, to practice with each other. And this is the time that I would say not to worry about things, not to get afraid about things. And if you look at a lot of positive things are also coming up right now. People are getting cured. This is not a big threat compared to many other challenges that we have already faced as human beings. So I believe everything will happen in the right time, in the right perspective. So all this time, if you follow the rules and regulations that every country is guiding us, let's have a collective mind together, and in our own personal time, we must delve deeper into our inner consciousness. Where else you'll get time? Think about where else you'll get time to be together. Husband and wife working together from the house, the children are being together. We all are giving reflect. If you look at the social media, I believe the amount of spiritual discourses that's happening and all these different videos and all these talks, transpirations that are happening is way more than any given point of time. So I believe this is the test time. We all have to write our test papers and try to at least get an A grade right now. So the masters have already done their job. Now we have to really come up with our own interpretations of this, our own practice to alleviate the spiritual power. Because sometimes the problems become so collective that few individuals cannot lift up. We all have to push. Like if you ask this question of Lord Krishna being the God, so-called, in our interpretation, how come he could not stop Mahabharata? There is a need for the nature. There is always a need that he does everything, but he has to do it through us. So likewise, the masters also do everything behind in a stealth mode. But we have to really believe in the teachings that the masters are giving, but also we have to do our own practice. So when we practice on our own and we try to overcome this problem by going deep within, you see, we'll also have the pleasure of being a participant in the whole venture. It's not like the masters have done in a passive way, but we are also doing it in an active way. So when we do something actively, and the masters are also doing a push-up from within in a stealth mode, I think everybody will become more experienced in dealing with this kind of situations, and whenever it happens in the future, we can be self-reliant, we can be self-dependent. So that's the kind of yogic concept also talks about, that we are pure Atman manifesting in this body-mind complex. So when we go and then identify our true nature by spending time with our deeper meditation, the meditation is very simple that we are practicing here right now. You have to believe in your heart center, think that the heart center is having that prana shakti, which is the universal life force, which has got answers to all our questions. When you think about that life force or the power of the God or the teaching of the masters are there in our heart, and when that teaching goes in the form of energy packets to every cell of your body, to every tissue, every organ, the whole system brightens up with this new knowledge. So when you spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, every 2-3 hours, that's the time to go deep inside. And you see that at some point of time, your individual mind will be so powerful And everybody else who is practicing, their mind also become powerful. So collective mind also will become more powerful. There is a Vyakti mind, there is an individual mind, and there is a Samasti mind, there is a collective mind. So when you practice individually, it also contributes back to the world. We always try to create these positive pockets of consciousness when we practice meditation. So that means if you practice meditation in the deep corner of your house, you're also helping millions of people, because our minds are connected. We are sharing the same human consciousness. So everybody should be responsible enough to contribute back a little bit more every day to this global rising of human consciousness. Then only we will be able to deal with such pandemics right now and also in the future. So that's exactly what I wanted to pass on today, and then we will talk about how to manage our fear, how to manage our stress by just following the same technique of going deep within this practice of meditation. Then we can become more stronger within. So fear is just an interpretation of the mind again. Just like I talked about the story, everything, including our own life, is an interpretation of time and mind. So when we look at the fear means false evidence appearing to be real. So it's just this false thing, it's not the real thing. When we are not in our present time right now, the mind is in the future, worrying about something that might happen, then it creates a fear kind of situation. So in Bhagavad Gita, it talks about a beautiful way about how this fear gets superimposed on something. It's a very classical example of a rope and a snake. I believe everybody who had listened to Bhagavad Gita, read about it, will be aware of it, but let me just tell it. So for example, if you're going in a dark path, everything is fearful, and then in that mode, like suppose you stumble across a big, scary snake, so obviously you will become more scared, right? Like your palpitations will go up, your perspiration might happen, your mind will racing through different kind of fearful thoughts, and then you somehow escape that situation and go out, and finally you meet with a friend, that friend having a flashlight, having some weapons to deal with that, and he happens to do a research on snakes, and he's looking frantically to look for a snake that he can take a picture. So you tell your frantic story of how you encountered the snake with him, and then he says like, no, please take me back to that point. I promise that nothing will happen to you. I would rather take a picture of the snake. And somehow you come, and then you exact spot where you encounter the snake, and you put the flashlight on that, and you figured out that that's not a snake, it's actually a big rope. So when you see the rope, while putting the light onto it, the fear of snake has gone out. It will never come back. So in the beginning itself, when you saw the snake, actually you saw the snake in your mind. So the fear of the snake is superimposed on the rope. And when you understand that it's just a superimposition only, and you know the truth, then the fear of snake will never come to your mind again. Right? So when you awaken yourself that this is only a rope, not a snake, the fear of snake will not come. So likewise, so whatever the fear that is happening right now, it's a superimposition of our collective mind. So let's just put together this practice of little meditation every day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, so that your mind becomes more powerful. And when we teach these lessons to our children and spend some time to make it as a practice of 5 minutes, a collective chore to build up our collective mind in our own family, so this will radiate into the human consciousness much more powerful than otherwise. Right? So listen to everything, that's fine, but limit your time also. You don't have to bombard your mind with many different interpretations, many different stories at the same time. Just like we can't take so much of food in our stomach, limited stomach. Likewise, our mind is also so-called limited because it cannot handle so much of information as you already talked about. So quarantine your mind every day, only a limited time that you listen to all these different stories and interpretations, but have your own due diligence. You have to write your test paper. Remember, like the masters have done all the lessons to us. So whatever the spiritual wisdom that you have already acquired in your personal life, try to use them as a tool to overcome fear, to overcome stress, overcome worries, anxieties, and try to deepen the knowledge much within, so that automatically the immune system would get stronger. We'll talk about more on different concepts. Today's sessions, I will also put a comment on the comment below. Like, I will send a link to how to manage your fear through Yoga Nidra technique. So I'll post a link right now. So if you get some time, it's about 20 minutes of practice, how to manage fear. So it's a very relaxing practice. You just lie down and practice this, and you'll see that your mind will become more stronger. The fear will go away and will become much more stronger inside. So let's practice this little meditation for a couple of minutes right now. So keep your back straight and upright. Keep your eyes gently closed to allow the mind to be calm and peaceful. Try to bring attention to your heart center. Energy focus in your breath. Try to chant the mantra Prana Shakti 5 times as you inhale and 5 times as you exhale. This is just a mere starting point. When we go deep into that, after 5-10 minutes of practice, automatically you'll be absorbed into this deep meditation of creating a stronger foundation by becoming closer and closer to your pure nature, the true existence, the pure consciousness and the pure bliss. Just focus in your heart. We'll practice for 1 minute right now, and as you get time, you practice more time. Focus in your heart, focus in your breath, and keep chanting the mantra Prana Shakti. Nice. Bring back palms together. Let's connect to our loved ones. Connect to the whole world as one family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And try to feel like this little practice of meditation is creating a beautiful network of love, compassion, protection, nourishment, and everything that we need to protect ourselves from this global pandemic. And we all are collectively helping each other to rise up above this problem. Just like an eagle, when there is rain, it doesn't really find shelter. It goes to a point where there is no rain. So we all are like eagles. We don't have to come down to find shelters. We have to go over the problem. So let's transcend our mind to overcome this fear, stress and worries, and try to connect to our true nature, the Brahman. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amrutam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Lead us from untruth to the truth. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death and fear to immortality and life. Om, peace, peace, peace. So thank you, friends. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to share some wisdom, whatever that I've learned, whatever that I've been practicing. I believe, one way or other, we all are learning something new. We have an open mind. Every moment is an opportunity for us to learn. Today I would like to also conclude this talk by a powerful statement that I have been deeply moved by one of my spiritual masters, Babaji Maharaj. He used to say, the God has hidden himself to expose you. Now you hide yourself and expose the God. So that's a profound statement that I have been practicing. The God is the Brahman that is within you. It's hidden to expose you, whatever way that you have achieved so much of success in this life. Now you go within and expose the God. So when we expose the God within each one of us, guess what? Everybody will become a spiritual master. We will not depend on one or two spiritual masters, but everybody, 8 billions of people in the planet will become spiritual masters. And I guess the nature is trying to give us an opportunity to elevate our consciousness into the global consciousness and then try to be more spiritual. Then only the Renaissance would happen and the Satya Yuga would come. We will transcend the sufferings of the Kali Yuga and then try to embark upon the Satya Yuga time with the advent of technology. So this is the great transformation time. I always talk about technology and spirituality merging together. So it's our duty to embrace the spiritual practices, whatever that we have learned so far. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. So keep our mind open. Every moment there is a teacher which is happening. So the nature itself is the teacher right now, is trying to teach some profound truth of life. So let's wake up to these moments and try to practice our own thing. Try to write those test papers and then try to succeed. And I wish everybody will get an A grade from this lesson today. The spiritual masters have done their job. Now is the time to give them how much you have learned. So let's keep practicing. Thank you very much.